Hey, how you doing? Today we're going to be looking at a forward shell for the HackTheBox Inception box. This is an older box that I'm just getting back around to finishing the write-up for, and I've just recently put out a video about what forward shells were, how they work, how you can use them, and now I got this chance to actually put it in place and use it on the Inception box. So I'm going to do that for the write-up, and I'm going to go ahead and write a shell in Python from scratch here, show you how to do it. So this is super useful because once you have this shell, it's really easy to update it to another scenario where maybe you get a different RCE in a different place, but you need a forward shell, and so that's really good. If you haven't watched the video on what a forward shell is and how a forward shell works, I'm going to recommend you probably do that first because I'm not going to go into a ton of the detail about how it works here. So I'll put a little link up here in the YouTube thing, and yeah, that's that. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in here. We'll do vim fshell.py, and then we will, of course, as always, start with our shebang, env python 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and use cmd. So we do from cmd import cmd. In getting ready for this, I started looking at cmd2, and I frankly found it too confusing and it's probably overly powerful for what we're trying to do here. Or maybe I just don't get it, but that's fine too. So we're just gonna go with the original CMD. And so the way you do that is you're gonna start a class. We're gonna call this class term, and it's gonna subclass off of the CMD object itself. We'll come in here for now, and we'll do a we'll set a def default, and that takes. See if I can remember how to do this. I think that takes just arg. So I don't know. Sorry, obviously it takes self and arg, whatever you want to call args, and we'll do print args. That is a simple term class, and so we can do term equals term, and then let's see, sys.exit, term.cmd. I don't actually know about the sys.exit thing. It's something I was just seeing in the cmd2 docs. So we'll have to import sys. So if that doesn't work nicely, I might switch back to the old way I used to do it. Let's give that a try. Python 3 fshell.py. We're here at a CMD. What happens if we put hello world? Cool. So what we've done here is we've defined a default command. So any command that's not explicitly mapped in, which right now is all of them, then args is going to be everything that comes after that. And so we just print it right back to ourselves. So can I control C out of here? Yes. Can I control D out of here? No. Okay, I'm gonna switch this real quick. We're gonna do try that except, and then what is it? Keyboard interrupt. And we'll just print extra. That's not how you do it. Except. And then we'll print an empty line, and that'll do it. So you can see here when I did a control C how it like crashed out, and Control D didn't do anything. So here, Control D still doesn't do anything, but Control C exits cleanly. So it prints the new line to move it on to the new line, and it exits. So yeah, I mean, this is totally necessary? No, but it's nice, right? Anything we can do up here, come up here and do and put prompt equals Inception, like that. And what that will do, now we have this cool little Inception shell that, again, whatever we put in here, it prints back. So there we have a basic CMD app. So let's go up here now, and the next thing we're going to want to work on is we'll do def init cell like this. The first thing we want to do here is I think we'll need to call our super init like that to make sure we still get all the good old init off of this large CMD class. In fact, let's in the spirit of making small changes, let's make sure that works. Yeah, okay, so we're still good here. Okay, so that looks good. There's a bunch more stuff we're gonna want though, right? So I'm assuming most people looking at this are getting here because I'm in the middle of a blog post I wrote about how to solve the box inception. But in case you haven't, let's see, there's a simple, I'm at the point now where I've got credentials where I can do a webdav upload. So let's see, let's do a shell.php. And that would be like question mark PHP system. I'm sure I'm going to screw this up. Let's see if a $_request CMD that. There. So this is a really simple web shell. It's going to look for whatever the request object is, assuming I spell it right. Quest. And then it's going to execute that with system, and the result will print to the screen. And so I can now do a curl -x put on HTTP 10.10.10.67. I think it is web. Is it web dev test inception? I can call it oxdf.php. And I can do data et shell like that. And when you do in bash, when you do et in front of something like this, or I don't know if it's bash or curl, but it's going to now make the contents of that file the data here. So we do this, and oh, I'm not authorized, of course. We need to put the creds in. So we will do web dev tester, and then the password. Where will we find the password here? Right there. Yeah, so now I've got creds, and that worked. In fact, there's a chance I already have on a dirty box here. I already have oxdf up there, so let's just do like that. And that's what I expected to see. When it creates a file, you're going to get back a 201 created here, and it says, we created that file. We can now do a curl on, let's grab this whole URL right here. Bang. -d, and our data is going to be cmd equals id. And we're running a shell as dub-dub-dub-data. So the reason we're doing a forward shell, if you haven't watched my why would you do it, like what is a forward shell video, I'll try to remember to put a little thing up here to click over to it. It's worth watching. But so I can't, but the problem is right now that all network traffic out seems to be blocked, so I can't get a reverse shell. I could enumerate this box with just the web shell, but why would I pass up an opportunity to play with Python? So that's why we're developing a forward shell. So with that background, what we're going to do here is in our init, we're going to start defining some stuff we're going to use throughout this class. So first of all, we need this URL. Let's call it URL base, and that is HTTP 10.10.10.67/web dev test inception, like that. And we will do self.id equals random dot rand range. And I am doing this because I just want to, I want, every time I run this, I want to make sure I'm operating cleanly. And so I just want to give myself a completely random ID each time each time I'm working with it to make sure it still works. If I just worked off of like oxdf.php the whole time, there's a chance like I would screw something up and not even know it because it would still be there working. So I'm just going to do this, 1 in a million chance, or 1 in 100,000 chance of repeating myself. So now I can do self dot, let's see, we'll say URL equals self.url base, and then what are we going to call this? We'll call our web shell oxdf-self.id.php. So there we go. That's where our web shell is going to live. We will now let's see. Let's go ahead and we'll also, so that is setting things up. Now we'll come in here and we will upload web shell. So we're going to need the requests module. Import requests. That looks good. All right. And that is going to be simple. It's going to be a request dot put. And then we're going to have the URL will just be URL. I don't think we need that. I think we need self.url. We're going to need the auth. So we'll do auth equals, and then we'll do self.auth, and we'll just define this up here so that we have it. Let's see, we can just do self.auth equals, and then this takes a tuple. So we'll go web dev tester, comma, and then I already forgot where, I have it somewhere over here. Baby girl 69, of course, like that. Okay, so we got the auth there looking good. We're going to need the data equals, and then we can just, we cat shell.php, we'll just grab exactly this. Data equals. Okay, and my quotes are good here. I've got double quotes here, single quotes on the inside, so that looks good. So I'm going to put that up there. Is there anything else I need in that? I think that looks pretty good. We could even do a test now. We can do response equals request.get self.url data equals cmd equals id. And we can do an assert that, let's see, here it is, like this. Let's grab this string. That in resp.text. Let's stop here for a second. We can run this. Let's go ahead and test. So now when we start this up, first thing that's going to happen is we're going to, when we create this term object, all the init stuff is going to run. So first it's going to get the init stuff from the parent, and then I'm going to set these constants that I just want to keep track of. Then we're going to use request to put up the web shell, and we're going to make sure the web shell is actually there. And if it's not, it's going to fail. And random is not defined. Oops. Let's see. Import random. This is where if I use like Visual Studio Code or something, it would have caught that for me, but request is not defined. That's because I want to do requests. S, insert S. Assertion error. Oh, we failed. Okay. So we'll come down here and we'll do import pdb. Actually, let's do this the nice way. This is line, you can see over here, I was going to point, you can see this is line 23. So we'll do Python like that, -m pdb to import the pdb module. And then we'll do a -c. The command we're going to give it is break on 23. And then we're going to give it the command continue so that it just runs. Here we are. What does response.text look like? Unauthorized. Okay. We need to give it auth equals self.auth. Let's try that again. And exit out of here. We'll run it in PDB so we can now step through, but we can do response.text is empty. That's not what I expected. Response.status code 200. Okay. Let's see. Self.url. Go over here and curl that -d cmd equals id. So, yep, I need to be offed. You get to watch me make the same errors over and over again. Let's see. Put that in there. And oops, repeated the IP address. So that works fine. The thing is definitely, the web shell works. Something is wrong with my oh, I'm putting it. Let's try this as a post. resp.text. Still not there. Self.url. Response.request. .url. Okay, so we're hitting the thing. Body cmd equals id. Huh. That is weird. That's not what I didn't expect to be stuck here, to be honest with you. So if we do request.post self.url data equal oh yeah, all right, cmd equals id. I wonder if that's not how you put data into this. I should know better than this. I'm sure somebody's sitting here screaming at the console, screaming at the video that like this is obviously what's wrong. Getting missing a comma. My response, let's see, response equals response.text. That's it. That's yeah. Sorry for that. Let's see. So we can do cmd colon quote like that. Now this is, sure. Let's just say this is on purpose. This is where it's really useful to put assert statements in your code that are going to catch you when something isn't happening like you expect. Errors like this will just jump out, right? But the fact is, if I had just gone on and kept developing, I would have not noticed that my web shell wasn't working right. Or in this case, it was my test code that wasn't working right. But still, if I had done something like this later, I'd be getting back empty responses, have no idea why. Versus now, you can see it made it through this assert statement, and now we're at the shell. So we can now feel good that whenever we open this up, we will have created a web shell on the box and we are ready to interact with it, right? So the next thing we need to do is build out a function for like a raw command. Now, when I'm using CMD, there's a set of kind of predefined functions. So if I start any function with do underscore something, in fact, I'll show that real quick. If I do def, I'll come back to that in a minute. Actually, I have another thing I'll show first. But if I do underscore something, it creates that command. But I can create other functions that are just internally used. So in this case, I'm going to create raw command, and it's going to take self, and it's going to take I won't call it CMD because that'll stomp over my other thing. Actually, we probably won't. Well, let's just be careful and call it command. And so our raw command is going to be yank this, paste. Command is not going to be ID. In this case, the command is going to be the command self.auth, and then we will respond by. Well, for now, we're going to go ahead and print response.text. By the end of this video, that'll be gone, but let's do that for now. So this doesn't actually add anything. This is just this is my ability to run a raw command, right? So we could come in. I don't even know how we would access that, but we can come in. Now I'll add this. So if we come in and do def do raw self args, and we call raw command args like that. We'll see if this works. Okay, so we just put up another web shell, and if we do raw ID, raw command is not defined. Oh, we need to do self.raw command. Okay, let's try that again. Raw ID, and we got the result back. So what happens here is when I call raw, it says, oh, there's a function called do raw. So I'm going to then come in here. Args is everything after raw. So in this case, it's just going to pass the string ID in. But if I pass the string ls minus l slash, all of this, anything after the command is going to be args. And so now args is going to go into raw command. Where are we here? Where then it's going to then send it to the web shell and print the text. In fact, let's do this. Instead of doing print text, we'll do return response.text. And now I can do, I can print up here. That'll actually be more useful later. So now if I do raw ID, I get that back. If I do raw ls minus l slash, I get that. So now we've got our raw command. Now this raw command is going to be like the foundation for everything we're doing here. So we're going to come up here, let's see, and we've uploaded our web shell. We could stop right here, actually. In fact, one option would be, instead of printing args, would be to do a print of self.raw command and pass args in and stop there. And now, literally, anything we do that isn't the word raw, so I do ID, I do ls slash there, I've effectively got a shell. I can up arrow through my history here, which is pretty cool. The thing I can't do, so I can't cd because I'm still seeing. I'm always going to be stuck in this directory because right now each time I run a command, it's spawning a new process. So the other thing I can't do is I can't do something like this. Nothing comes back here. That's because the errors went elsewhere, but it's really not happy with me right now. I wonder if we should. Well, it's not happy with me here, and that's because there's no pseudo terminal here or TTY to run these things in. I can't do this. I can't SSH. I can't do the things some things I may want to do. So that is where we're going to start taking advantage of the forward shell. So to set this up, again, if you haven't watched the video, go back and watch the video on exactly what's going on. But so we're going to create our forward shell. Let's see, init forward shell, and to do that, we're going to let's see. We need to create our pipes and our. I should have had this up. I wonder if I still have this handy. Let me see if I have this over in another terminal here. CD downloads maybe. Gee, do I still have this? Shoot, I guess not. Oh, I know where it is. Let's see. Sorry, now you guys get to watch me like look on another screen. YouTube, videos, YouTube, publish. Maybe I'll edit this out. 2022, 2023. Okay. Okay, sorry, that took a minute, but here. This is my example of forward shell. The real quick version is we have RCE. We're going to write a pipe that we're going to call input or standard in or something like that. We're going to tail that into an SH process, and we're going to tail it with -F so it gets held open. We're going to have the results of that go into this temp.output file, and then we're going to periodically use our RCE to read that output file. And because this holds this open, this process will just stay open as long as forever. And this is a persistent shell. So if we change directories within the shell, the change directory will take place. So that's the general idea. So come back here. Then now we need to go ahead and create our pipes. So we will do a raw self.raw command. And from there, we will the first command we're going to run is make FIFO. And then we're going to pass it. So let's go ahead and make this an F string. This will be self dot. Let's go up here and define this. So again, I want to, just to be careful, we'll do self dot input equals, and we will put that in dev shm, and we'll call it standard in dot, make this an F string, self dot ID. That way we know each time we're getting a unique pipe, and we will go ahead and make self dot output, and this will be called this self dot standard out dot ID. Now we're down here, and we can call this self dot input. So there we go. We've now made a pipe. We'll do self dot raw command, make another one. So this time we're going to do, and the command is tail -F self dot input into bin sh 20 $1 into, and then we'll do self dot output. And we'll close that, and we'll close that. So now, again, in this initial thing, right, we'll come down and run, we'll close this, we'll reopen, and, oh, okay, we're running into our first challenge. I forgot we're gonna run into this. What we've just done is, in the init, we've now uploaded our web shell, presumably. We could put some print statements or something. Let's see. Just so we can know what's going on. Print, starting, forward shell with session self.id, like that. We can say print web shell uploaded to self.url. That's not an F string, we better make it one. And then we can say, here we'll do print forward shell initiated, like that. Let's see where we're getting stuck. First we got to fix our, what line, 24? What do we break? Oh, we didn't. Whew, I can close this. Okay, so we started our shell with this session number. We've uploaded our shell, and we're getting stuck. Now, why are we getting stuck? Well, that's because this never, this right here, this tail never returns, and so we're going to hang until our web request times out. So what we're going to want to do here is give this a timeout. So let's come down here to raw command, and we will come in here and do timeout. Let's see, I gotta remember how to do this on requests. I believe it's just timeout equals. Is there a way to say no timeout though? Requests timeout. Hold on. I'm turn off. Let's see. Try that. Okay. Sure. What if? Well, we'll just play with it here. Okay. Timeout equals none. Is that going to work for us? Because that's what I want for most cases. We'll do timeout equals timeout. Let's try this. So we run this again. Seems to be working like I want it to. And then we'll come up here and we'll do, so that's on the raw command. We now have a timeout parameter. So we'll down here and we'll say timeout equals 0.1, something really short. Now I believe when request throws a timeout, it's actually going to error. We'll find this out real quick. Yep, it raises a connection read timeout. So we will grab this and we will do try except there pass. So now when it does timeout, we just continue. So let's see what happens. Unable to read. Oh, let's see. Return none. Now if we fail, we return nothing. We got our thing. So let's see. I assume we can still run raw commands and stuff. Beautiful. So we can actually go in here and look at dev shm. See the mess. I'm already making a big mess in here. We could actually do a remove dev shm star. Okay, that's good. So we can get out of here and come back in clean. All right, so what do we do now? By the time we started now, we're down here at the default, right? I don't think we need this do raw anymore. Let's get rid of you. One thing that's kind of cool, I think, is you can actually do help here. I can actually document these commands and show what the options are. Oh, raw is still there because I just deleted it. Yeah, let's get rid of it. Okay. So we're in our default command. What I want, the experience I want to happen now is I want to type something. So I'm going to type something. It's going to because it's the default, because I have no commands defined, so it's going to come here as args. I'm going to want that to be, let's see. So we're going to take that and we're going to push it. We're going to write that command into the input file, the standard in file. So what we want to do here is we want to do self.raw command, and the command is going to be echo. I better make this an F string. Echo args into self.input, like that. And when that's done, let's go ahead and see what happens here. When that's done, so when that happens, it'll tail into the shell process. That shell process will run it. The output will go to the out. So maybe we'll then say fonts equals self.raw command cat self.output print response. Try that. Ooh, did not mean to do that. Let's see. It worked. In fact, that's really cool. So now if I do ls, let's see. So I can do cd/ls, cd home, ls. Ooh, what? Oh, okay. So this is both cool, and you're like, wait, why is that? Why am I getting the same thing here every time? One thing we're not doing right now is we are not getting rid of this file. So all of the output is just constantly being dumped in, but the file just grows. So let's come up here and actually do cat self.output echo -n, which just means with no new lines. Basically, we're echoing nothing into self.output. And now we will have created, it should be clean each time. So if we do cd/home ls cd cob ls, there's user.text, cat user.text, nothing happens. We're missing errors clearly. We're still there. ls minus la. So we can see it's here. So our shell seems to be working pretty well, actually. I wonder what happens if we want to do like, well, we'll come back to that. So we've got that. We can do something like su/su-. Not totally. Oh, because we still don't have a pty. So we could do something to try to get a pty. What happens if we do script minus dev null minus c bash? Look at that. Now we have an actual terminal coming back here. And so if I do id, I've got a terminal, and that is actually pretty cool because now you can see my Inception thing is still printing, but the actual shell is sending us back this prompt. So it'd actually be kind of cool to turn that off. I've actually got to run right now. I'm going to pick this video up and keep recording it later, but we'll work on that when I get back. So, okay, so we're back at it. Let's see. So we got here. We're to the point now where we've got this kind of neat looking prompt, but let's see if we can clean it up a little bit. So I'm going to come up here and let's see. First thing we're going to need to do, I think, is let's go ahead and actually make, we'll see why in a second, but we're going to do a def command self command timeout equals none. We're going to do a specific command, like run a command through the shell function. And basically, 2dd is going to be this. And then this is now print self.command, and that's so args like that, and that should, oh, we better return it. Return RESP. I think that'll work. Let's just test it. I like, always want to take small steps and make sure you don't screw something up. So we found something. Args is not defined right here. Let's this, I called it command here. Okay, it still works. cd/cd home. Oops, not homer. cd home. We don't get errors there, which is interesting. Troubleshoot that for sure. Okay, so that looks good though. Now we've got the command. What we want to do is let's go ahead and add def do upgrade self.arg and args, even though we're not going to use them. And here we're going to do print self.command script dev null minus c bash. Like that. Come down, kill, and do that again. So now we do ID, that's fine. If we do upgrade, that even tab completes. Now you can see we're back to where we were before. So we still haven't cleaned it up, but we have a single command that gets us here. So what I want to do here is, after I do this, I'm going to go ahead and set self.prompt equal to the empty string. See if that's, oops, not screw up our tmux command here. Write that, kill that, redo, upgrade. And now we're close. You can see it's like when we run something, we're still getting the kind of the raw stuff, but that's okay. We're getting the repeated, but that's okay. And we're getting this like on the wrong line. Let's see if we can clean that up a little bit more. I think all we need to do, honestly, is do end equals like this, and end equals like this. That'll fix it. Upgrade, ID, yeah. Okay, so we're still getting the command repeated back, but we're getting our commands on the same line as our prompt is coming back, so it's starting to look pretty good there. So I'm happy with that. We could probably do something where we like remove where we count the size of args in here, the number of lines in arg, and then we remove that many lines from this before we print. But I'm going to leave that. If you want to clean that up, that you can do that. So one quick thing I'm going to interject in the middle, coming from the future here. I'm going to interject. One thing I was playing with as I was solving this box is, so I run this shell,
and I do upgrade, and I do like ID and I do ls, and it prints back to me the command that's running. And like, again, this is important. No. Does it bug me? Yes. And so I wanted to try to fix it. And I've had a couple people ask me for videos on the whole like stty raw minus echo command. Like, what does that do? And I got to do a lot more research before I can put one of those together, because that's one of those things I've always just sort of like typed and hit I believe. But I did find if I run that here, it goes away. And so one thing I was going to do is come back up here, and I can come back here and do print self.command stty raw minus echo, like that, and equals like that. And now I come down here and I run this, and I do upgrade, not update, upgrade. It runs. It's interesting. It actually prints out for me right here, like it shows me that I ran it. But okay, that's kind of cool. But now when I do ID, it just shows me when I do print working directory, it's there. So anyway, I'm gonna go try to figure out how to cut this into the video in an interesting place. But back to the regular thing, Thanks. The main why are we doing this, right? What can I do through this shell that I couldn't do before? And the answer is, if we cheat a little bit ahead in this box, there's a user on this machine that we're interacting with called Cobb, and I can, let's see. Again, I will, oops, I didn't mean to cancel that, but well, the one right there, you can see when I ran su Cobb, I got back. So what happens is I ran su Cobb, the shell is going to spit back out this prompt for password. If we didn't have a TTY, that wouldn't work. But because we do, the password prompt comes out, it goes into the output file just like we would normally do, and we can actually send more input back to it by sending in a password. And so that's super cool. Let's see, we need to do, go cd var dub cd html, cd WordPress. I've already actually solved a head on the box here. But if we do a cat of wp config.php, maybe even do grep -i database. Is that gonna give it to me? No. We'll just cat the whole thing and worry about that in a minute. Here we go. So spoiling ahead for the box, but you're watching this video, so you probably don't care about that anyway. If I do echo that is the password for Cobb. So if I do su like this, oops, that didn't work. If I do su Cobb, oh, I'm not, let's see. So first we need to upgrade, because that's important. You have to have a full TTY. Cool. Now if we do su Cobb like this, say what's the password, we put the password in, and look at this. We are Cobb. We now have a shell running as Cobb. Who am I? Cobb, ID, Cobb, cd home, obviously can't cd Cobb, can't tab complete, but I can even cat user.text, and I got user.text. So this is super cool. I definitely couldn't have done this through a web shell. So yeah. In summary, the forward shell is a super cool technique. You don't actually need it on Inception to solve the box. You can use your web shell to read this Cobb password and just SSH in as Cobb. But this is just like a really neat technique to have. There's definitely one of the pro labs in HackTheBox where there's a box. You have to do this to solve it. At least that's the only way I know how to solve it. And so it's like, again, it's not a technique that's going to come up all the time, but it's a technique that if you are able to quickly throw this shell together, and again, well, if you're able to throw this together, you're going to be in a really good spot. And we should talk about this. Ipsek's got one on his GitHub that you can play with. But again, once you've got this, most of this is the same, right? What do you need to change? If you had a completely different, let's say we had a box that had shell shock on it. So it's a completely different way of getting remote code execution. Well, let's see. All of this stuff, you wouldn't do this upload web shell thing because you don't need it. This would be exactly the same. You're going to set up your forward shell. The real thing you need to change here is how do you do a raw command? And so as long as you can customize this function, you take this script, swap in some completely different raw command, and you're good. You're going again, right? So once you have one of these things, it's pretty easy to customize it to any scenario where you have RCE. So with that, thank you so much for sticking around till the end. Appreciate you, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks.